You ever see something that freaks you out so much that it takes 30 years for you to get it out? Yeah. Well, let's dive into this, shall we? It's very interesting.
I only wanted to tell you that I saw a Bigfoot in the 1990s, possibly early 2000. I don't remember the date. I didn't document anything. Early one beautiful spring morning after my husband left for work, as I do many times, as I looked through the mini blinds outside toward the barn behind the house. I was just gazing out the window when I saw what looked like a Bigfoot walk out of the tall weeds upon the hill. He, or she, but my senses tells me it was a he. He sensed me looking at him immediately. He waved his hand as if he was saying, "Forget about you." He continued to walk behind the barn on his merry way. I never looked at him anymore. I could tell immediately he didn't want me looking at him. I never pursued it in any further. I've never seen another one since this. My husband thought I was nuts and ignored me. I didn't talk to anyone about it for years, but now that the Monsters Finding Bigfoot shows are on, my husband now believes they really exist. The one I saw was as shiny black as could be, looked very clean and neat as if his hair had been combed. His hair was all over his body, but his face was a bit different than some of these on TV. He was more black, like leather, around his eyes and mouth. His hair neatly laid around his face. My guess, he was approximately 8 to 9 feet tall. He looked more muscled, not rugged at all. I live by a bottom which many of us that has lived here all our lives have known of some wild species seen down there. I've been told, including devil worshippers. A friend and a buddy of his took the dogs to hunt down in the bottom one night, and they smelled an awful smell, and the dogs turned around and ran home fast as they could, so of course they ran home fa. Saints as they could. He commented it scared him to death. These boys hunted all the time, and I believe this incident stopped their hunting altogether. I don't know if anyone else has ever seen Bigfoot. It used to be no big deal to go into the woods at night around here, but most people don't do that anymore. Only some four-wheelers possibly. Well, I also live near Washington County Lake in Nashville, EL. I read the story of a man fishing one night and his experience with one of these creatures. I know that area and I wouldn't doubt it, for it is very secluded. Water, woods, and seclusion they seem to like. Thank you for letting me tell you my little story. Not much. But I saw one plain as day and in the daytime.
Just the facts, ma'am. On that vein, on the follow-up, I guess BFRO investigator, in summary, the witness observed the animal through her kitchen window. The animal was 30 yards away. The animal was between 8 and 9 feet tall. The animal was shiny black in color. The animal's face looked like leather around the eyes and mouth, and the animal was muscular looking. Now, of course, she didn't want to talk to her husband about it too much when it first happened. He thought she was nuts, and then he, for whatever reason, became a believer later on, and now she feels confident in telling us about it. It was kind of interesting. She gave like a side story about folks not really hunting much in that particular area anymore. And in some parts of the country, these things are just part of the fauna. It's like, hey, we just don't hunt over there because there's something else that lives there and we just don't want to deal with it. So we're going to go over here instead. And I'm kind of getting that impression from this one. This woman was clearly more fascinated than scared. And people that are in their homes looking out, your home is like your safety net, if you were, your little bubble of safety. And This thing was outside, so she probably felt a little more secure. I didn't really detect any fear, more like fascination from her. It was interesting though when she said that where was it? He sensed me looking at him immediately, which I find interesting because that's also a feeling that a lot of different people come up with during these sightings. Is you can kind of feel like you're being watched. You feel like there's a presence staring at you. Look, if you feel like you're being watched, you probably are. Paranoia aside, that's kind of how being watched works. We have a sixth sense, humans do, about that sort of thing. We know when we're being watched, especially by something big. So I think that was an interesting observation as well. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. You have a wonderful day. I'll see you on the flip side, and I am out.